Hello. Welcome back. My name is Jessica. This is Jay Gilly, Psychic Medium Tarot. You may book a personal reading with me at any time at jgilly.com. That's jgilly.com. Okay, so I know for a fact I charged my mic for a full 24 hours. So if this mofo goes out again with battery, we know it's a conspiracy theory. So we'll see how this goes. Apologies for yesterday's debacle. You know, I'm still learning, still growing my channel. We are just winging it. I'm not putting too much pressure on myself. My guides are in charge. What they choose to talk about is up to them. Today, I was like, okay, so today is my third day of fasting. And I will say, I can only imagine if this is what taking a Xanax feels like. I thought I was going to have like a lot of energy and like alertness and focus, but I don't know. I just seem to be like la da da floating along. I don't know if anyone else has had that experience on the third day of fasting, but there's been a lot of juice. There's been a lot of bone broth, water, and that's it. And a little bit of tea, green tea, jasmine green tea. But I will say it makes my teeth, I can already feel my teeth like getting gritty and like stained. It's almost worse than coffee. So I don't know. We're working out. Growing pains this week. Growing pains. It's the end of Mercury retrograde. Yay. Um, I feel like all of your technological issues are gonna like suddenly release, like emails will be sent easier, links will be able to download quicker, all the good stuff. So hopefully you all let go of everything you need to shed. I know I have. I'm feeling I'm definitely feeling like out of body, like super light and fizzy. Kind of like anything goes. When I woke up this morning, I heard my guide say, what was the term? It was like, oh, I forget what it wasn't collapsible dreams. It was like all dreams are collaborating. All dreams are visions you had of the future. All future timeline manifestations are, what was the word? It was like converging, maybe they said converging, um, cohabitating, something like that, where colliding. All past dreams are colliding. That's what I heard. And I immediately thought it was like manifestations. But today I had a really hard workout and I was sitting in the bathtub meditating, and I had like a huge, I have my spiritual bath where I have like a cup of sea salt in the water. I have my clear quartz crystals. I have some incense going. I have a candle burning, and I have an underwater speaker with 963 hertz, solfeggio hertz. And this is how I do a spiritual bath, a spiritual cleanse, and get my mind right for the 8-8 portal. And I had like a really tough workout, and it was so nice to just like soak my muscles and just like breathe in the warm water, just like that first time you feel like you're really getting a warm hug, right? And I just like laid back and started meditating. And immediately kind of was in this liminal space of all my past lives where the tether and the anchor point was bath time. And like my higher self was like, how many of these baths have we taken? How many, like, this is the anchor point in all your lives, whether it's in a river, whether it's in an outhouse, whether it's in an outdoor shower, whether it's in a foot claw tub. It is that moment with yourself and your higher self. It's a deep awareness and consciousness that I kind of like reconnect to all my past life versions of myself, both in this life and many others. And I don't know if anyone else can relate to this because I feel like I'm pretty much an ancient soul. I felt like this as a child taking baths as well. Um, and truth be told, my showers and my bath time are like a sacred experience. They always have been. The spirit realm always comes and makes contact with me. I get my deepest wisdom in the shower. My grandmother, who's been passed away before I was born, um, always comes and gives me the most profound prophetic messages. So during my showers and my bath time. So anyway, there was this aching in my soul, like tired but very present. Tired of like, I guess the work slavery that I've endured for like all the lifetimes, and that feeling of like taking a shower and washing the day off. I didn't have that today. I had a very present day. But that might have been something that I was shedding from a past life. Like finally in this life, I'm not on this rat race. I'm finding unique ways that my soul wants to make a name for itself and choose intentionally and consciously how to make money through my spirituality, through my gifts, things like that. So maybe that's why it finally came up to the surface today, that I recognized that my soul had had so many of these tired baths, washing away the slavery of the day and feeling like I was like walking uphill through a battle. And again, I didn't feel like that today taking a shower, but it was a nostalgic feeling associated with like the first, whenever you first get into a hot bath and like you get goosebumps and it's like you're calibrating, assimilating to the temperature. Um yeah, there was like a past life memory that was associated with that. And it was like the second I propped my feet up next to the drain switch, um, it was like I remembered just every griping complaint I ever had at the end of the day, propping my feet up in a bathtub. And I was just like, it was like all these complaints from lifetimes, thousands of years. So maybe it came to the surface to be released, hopefully. Because at the end of the bath today, I felt so grateful. I felt so grateful to all those versions of myself that carried me to here. So 8:11 on the clock, that might be a significant number for one of you guys. August 11th or November 8th. Yeah, to whoever's watching. So yeah, I believe that we all can recover our memories from birth. I actually came into this world with memories of my birth, and it's a pretty fascinating story. So I always remembered my first memory was hearing a garage door opening, and then what I associated a garage door opening, which was really my mother's cervix and me like being born, and me hearing her hips. It sounded like a garage door to me. Um, and then as I came out, I could hear my father telepathically screaming at me to cry. But I was so disgusted by all the amniotic fluid and cheese and stuff stuck on me that I like shuddered and kind of looked around and tried to wipe my face. And of course, they wouldn't let me. They grabbed my hands and put them down. And I remember that. And I could hear my father telepathically screaming, Jessica, just cry, cry. And I remember thinking to myself, would you give me a second just to like think? I can't think. I can't think when you're screaming at me like this. And a lot of times, our birth experience is going to be how we face challenges there on out in life. And when people are screaming at me, I can't get anything done. I can't think. Um, and I become oppositional. I will take my sweetest time in doing whatever I want to do, as opposed to what the person is demanding and screaming that I do. So think about maybe your birth experience. If you can't remember, sit in a meditation, ask your guardian angels, ask your guides to reveal to you your birth experience. Ask your parents, if you can, jog your memory, or ask for a dream in the dream state to be shown to you. But it's very insightful, I would say. And um, yeah, I didn't realize I was so telepathic until I acknowledged those memories. Now the reason that I do know it was my memory from my birth is because when in college I went to a Princeton review class for the MCAT, okay? And I remember going in late for class, and in the first day of class they were like, all right, stand up and say something about yourself, a unique fact. And I was like, oh my god, what am I going to say, and I was like the second or third person to stand up, and literally like I had an out of body experience. Like I was so nervous, it was like my guides got inside of me, and I was like, hi, my name is Jessica, and I was born with 2 umbilical cords. And I sat down and I got extremely red in the face because I was like, okay, Jessica, you're a psycho. Where did you come up with this lie? What? How did that lie come out of nowhere? Right. And so I just like buried it and was like, I'm never going to see these people again. How will they know, if I had 2 umbilical cords or not, whatever. So I just go about my day and my life. And about 6 or 7 years later, I'm actually like getting panic attacks in the hospital in clinicals and during nursing school, and trying to naturally treat whatever these panic attacks, like obviously I was having a reaction to spirit, feeling the empathy of my patients, and my nervous system was like just firing, like just all over the place, right? And you're already stressed and barely hanging on as a nursing student, right? So I'm having all these psychic experiences, can't explain them. So naturally I start to meditate, And in my first meditation, I'm brought through to my grandmother who's passed away, and she told me, "You need to quit smoking cigarettes." And I was like, "Yes, ma'am. How can I talk to you?" Right. And then she brought me through like my birth. And I remember looking down and seeing two umbilical cords, and the left one had a hematoma. And I actually remember the experience of being dropped off in a sea of amniotic fluids, just like amniotic sacs of babies floating in a cosmic space, and me being dropped off in a blue Corvette convertible with my paternal grandfather. And I know because we were listening to a station, it was like 99.9 and singing. And um I had a white nightgown on. He had a suit. And I get out of the car, and there's like a cliff, like a rocky cliff, and you can see all the babies in the amniotic fluid, like bubbles. And he drops me off, gives me a yellow rose, and says, "Give this to my beloved." And when I turn around, suddenly I remember telling myself, "Okay, you can't forget about this rose," right? So I turn around and I realize he's leaving, and I can see his eyes in the rear view mirror, just his eyes. And he says, "Remember, my eyes are exactly like yours." I was like, okay, kind of didn't understand it. So I turn around. Suddenly, a hand, like of glittery, like consciousness that's also speaking to me, comes and presses. It was like very dancey, like it's like kind of like exactly what you would imagine, like a cosmic, like beautiful dance of a stream of consciousness. I believe it was like the voice of God, but it was a hand that came out of nowhere on the soft spot of my head and like pushed me into the amniotic sac, the baby sac. And as the hand came and pressed on the top of my head, the voice said, "Take another breath." So I was like, and the voice said, "Nope, you're going to need to take a deeper one because you're not going to want to breathe when you first come out." And I was like, "Okay." And I did it again, and they were like, "Nope, you got to do one big one." So I was like, "Oh, okay, geez." So I take another one, and then I am being born. And I will say I didn't want to come out. I was like, "Oh, what is this? Oh, I don't like this cottage cheese." Um, and then I remember getting into to my mother's stomach and being like, "Oh my God, I forgot the yellow rose." And I look down, and there's two umbilical cords, and on the left side is a hematoma that looks like a rose. And I'm hearing the most beautiful symphonic music, melody in the veins. I can see like cursive writing in like a book. So I have this meditation that just kind of like completely jogs my memory all the way back to before I was born. And I immediately call my dad and I'm like, "Did I have two umbilical cords when I was born?" And he was like, "Yeah. How'd you know that? Your mom doesn't even know that." I was like, "Yeah, because I just had a meditation and was just brought through that." Right. And so Of course, my family doesn't believe any of the experiences I've had or whatever, but um, that can't be denied. Like, no one knew I had 2 umbilical cords. And even with all the other stuff that I've been through it this past year and the Freemason stuff, because my father's a Freemason, um, I also have I through that process, I requested him. We tracked down the doctor, and I wanted to get the birth chart for some reason. I wanted to get my medical records from when I was born. The medical chart says 6:18 a.m., but my birth certificate says 11:18 a.m. And my mom swears that she got back into her hospital room in time for Days of Our Lives, her favorite soap, which came on at 12 p.m. And she swears that I was born at 11:18. So my hunch is that there's some type of phantom twin situation going on here because I did have 2 umbilical cords. They put it in my chart that I was a medical anomaly. I was otherwise very healthy. And this is all allegedly. This is just my psychic opinion, not fact. Just a psychic hunch. But yeah, I think there's a lot that goes on behind closed doors, especially in the medical field, allegedly. And always trust your unfiltered things you say. I mean, I literally thought I was a psycho. I was like, how can you come up with a lie like that out of nowhere? And turns out it was true. Like and that goes to show you just how much like sitting and doing a stream of consciousness, exercise, writing, just letting whatever flow through, you will find out so much about yourself psychically, subconsciously. Yeah, so I encourage you all to do an automatic writing session, see what you uncover, see what past life memories maybe, you conjure up. It's always fun. Before you do an automatic writing session though, I would say definitely find a mode of protection. So whether that's like visualizing God's white light around you or saying an Archangel Michael prayer, guardian angel prayer, or wearing protective jewelry, visualizing angel wings on you, whatever that looks like to you. Chants, um, Kuan Yin prayer, whatever that looks like to you. Protection and setting an intention that the highest vibration comes through your pen is always important as well. But yeah, I thought that was a really, my guides really did. My guides thought that I should share that with you all. Because a lot of people don't talk about those experiences. They just kind of like, oh, that's just like me making that up, or oh, that's just like a dream. Sometimes it's actually memories we have buried, right? And in a lot of, the Australian Aborigines, they believe that the dream state is actually the real waking life. So, we also have a lot of interdimensional travel that is possible, and interdimensional beings that can use our light and our vessel when we astral travel at night when we sleep, because we all astral travel when we sleep. It's just if you get into a REM sleep, you're astral traveling. It's a normal thing. Um, so when people tell me I can't astral travel, I'm like, yeah, right. You do it all the time. You're not consciously doing it, right? But there's also beings and government agencies that kind of make a living harvesting the the energy off of you in the fourth dimension. And that's also not talked about either. Like there's a lot of this is why also protection is so important and guarding your chakras, closing the trap doors down. Almost kind of like visualizing a locker, like, and then you lock it up so no one can get in there when you're not there. No one can go rummaging through your books and your items, your belongings when you're not at school, kind of thing. Um, quite literally, when you're because school would be Earthship, the Earth school. Um, so yeah, visualizing CDs in front of your chakras can also be an intention you set. To kind of like blockade from any type of government agency trying to like rummage through your Akashic records or your third eye or hijacking and using your chakras for Stargate projects, Project Pegasus, all kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. Now they can do it remotely. They don't have to be anywhere in your vicinity. Um, they can almost like reroute a Wi-Fi signal actually through your torrid field, your biomagnetic field. So super important when you go to sleep. You can sleep with copper tinsel rings underneath your bed to ground yourself and protect yourself. You can also use Shugnite, which is a crystal, a dark crystal that really is great for absorbing negative energies, but also electromagnetic smog. Um, I used to have a Labradorite crystal somewhere around here, but I don't see it. But Labradorite is a really great iridescent one that's great for dream recall and past life memories as well. But it's also a very protective stone against psychic attack. And it's one of the most beautiful ones. It also opens your third eye and your clairvoyant gifts. So yeah, that one's just kind of like the magician of them all. Like you get 5 for 1 with that stone. And it also protects against like EMF. So yeah. Now I wanted to kind of end this little Mercury retrograde talk, past life talk